and in the role of representative from WANEP, which is the West African Network on Peace Building. We have Rachel Sitoni from Kenya. And I'll hand over to Beth.
Ladies and gentlemen, West Africa in the 1990s took robust action to hold wars in Libya and Sierra Leone, much to the approval of the international community. But since the start of the 21st century, the West African region has appeared unable to repeat its peacekeeping and peacemaking successes 2 decades ago. So to find out why, we have a panelist here who is from the ECOWAS Commissioner for Peace and Security, Salamatu Suleiman, President Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria, the President of Mali, Ibrahim Bakar Keita, and representative of the West African Network of Peace Building, Emmanuel Bombande. We'll start with the opening statements with the Commissioner for Peace and Security.
Thank you, Moderator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The aim of ECOWAS has been to promote regional integration in all fields of activity, from economics to political to cultural, etc. Now, the requisite economic development and integration of West Africa must begin with stability, with peace and security at all levels in the region. The region has made some significant achievements through ECOWAS's mechanisms for peace and security, which demonstrates that with political will and strategic action, West Africa can build a new community devoid of violence, crime, and instability. I would like to emphatically state that ECOWAS is committed to addressing peace and security challenges in the region, and with collaborative efforts from all members within the region, within Africa and abroad, we can see change occur.
President Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Although Nigeria has been a driving force in establishing the peace and security in the region, that is through its role with the ECOWAS, also putting its headquarters in Abuja, it has struggled with multiple internal conflicts that has jeopardized its security. In the recent years, Nigeria has suffered with unprecedented attacks from a group of youth known as Boko Haram, and still continues to suffer from its effects and its attacks. My sympathies to the families that have suffered and those who have been affected. My administration is doing all that it can to see that Nigeria returns to safety. Thank you.
President Bakar Keita.
Thank you very much, Mr. Good afternoon, all. I'm very happy to be here. I want to say my administration has been working very hard since September last year to see that I and my team reviewed Mali, bring about reconciliation, and ensure that there is peace and prosperity in Mali. Thank you very much.
Emmanuel Bombande.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and greetings to people. Despite West Africa's abundance in natural resources and human resources, violent conflicts, and especially interstate conflicts, have been reasons why the West African region has been wrecked by poverty and underdevelopment. When WANEP was founded in 1998, we committed ourselves to work as a regional civil society peace-building practice organization, to work hard complementing the efforts of governments in West Africa and intergovernmental organizations such as ECOWAS, to ensure that the West African region is not wrecked by destructive violent conflicts as we experience today.
Commissioner, why has ECOWAS gone back on the good old days of the 1990s of peacekeeping and peacemaking?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Firstly, I'd like to start by saying that ECOWAS has not regressed or gone back. We acknowledge the successes that it has made in Liberia and in Sierra Leone, in Cote d'Ivoire, etc., and the challenges that we are facing currently in our most recent engagement in Mali are as a result of multiplicity of complexities that we are faced with currently. Issues of logistical issues, financial issues, issues of standby force that we're trying to get into action. So we acknowledge that there are certainly some challenges that we are confronted with, but to say that we have regressed, I would not say that.
Well, the irony of it all was that when ECOWAS was successful in the 1990s, we had a military dictatorship in Nigeria and Ghana, the two most important countries in the region. But since we've had civilians in these countries, nothing much has happened. So would you agree that the military dictators were more robust in defending the region than the civilians?
Moderator, thank you. I would say that with democracy now being at the forefront of ECOWAS, I would say that we can no longer just make sort of undemocratic sort of responses within these regions. We cannot just respond without following the necessary protocol. There are a lot of challenges that we need to get in place first before we can enter into a country. So to say that the military dictator has succeeded, I wouldn't agree with that.
President Jonathan, how is the government campaign against Boko Haram going?
The government is doing all it can to see that the Boko Haram attacks are reduced. All I can say right now is we're working to reduce the attacks. One step we have done is we realized that there is Boko Haram base in Cameroon. We entered into an agreement with the Cameroon government so that the Boko Haram base is destroyed from Cameroon.
President Keita, I mean, you were a member of ECOWAS, but when it came to the crunch, when the rebels were attacking Mali, you called on France to defend you. Don't you think that is a backward step for an independent African country?
Thank you very much. In the first instance, I didn't call for French intervention. The transitional government in Mali did call for French intervention. But of course, we have to also situate the situation in Mali into context. As at the time that the intervention was sought from the international community, Mali was almost on its knees. You know, crisis everywhere, people were dying, and there was need to actually seek intervention. ECOWAS was helping out. African Union was also lending some support. But we needed to also seek international assistance. And so we called on the international community to assist us, for which France responded. And we are grateful that they helped us to solve the crisis.
No, you see, I mean, this is the problem we always have in Africa. I mean, because it was a result of the ECOWAS blockade of the military regime that forced that regime to hand over power, and there was a move towards constitutional order. So why didn't you at least give ECOWAS that credit?
Yes, ECOWAS deserves the credit, and as a matter of fact, ECOWAS is still working with our government. As I speak to you, we are having a meeting in Ghana to actually analyze the situation, the entire process that led to conflict, the intervention of ECOWAS, the role it played, and all of that. And we are ongoing with it. We believe that ECOWAS can actually have the capacity now and in the nearest future to address some of these things in the sub-region. And of course, we don't have any doubt in their capability to do that.
Yeah, Emmanuel Ombandi, just on the fact that one is allied to ECOWAS, I mean, can you give us an objective view of the situation of peace and security in the region without feeling compelled to praise ECOWAS?
Indeed, as most of us in this room will agree, the West African situation is a complex. The region is very interconnected. Anything that happens in Mali will affect not just Mali, but many other countries in the region. And because of the complexity of the situation, then it calls for not just the efforts of the individual states, the 15 member states of ECOWAS, or ECOWAS on its own. It calls for partnership, it calls for collaboration. So I would say that we will continue supporting the efforts of ECOWAS and the efforts of the member states, in the region.
Commissioner Suleiman, would you agree that ECOWAS was really ready to move into Mali, but because of the failure of the other regional military forces, that's the reason why it didn't work? So would you want to lay blame on the rest of the other regions?
Today, I would not like to play the blame game. but I would like to acknowledge that certainly there were challenges that we were faced with. We had challenges of perhaps lack of capacity from certain members, lack of political will. There were financial challenges. We have early warning mechanisms that we certainly were able to respond to, but the issue is bridging that gap between the early warning and an early response, and we didn't have the necessary sort of technical and logistical support to actually enter there in the time. Because in order to actually have a mission, you need to have aircraft, you need to have all the necessary logistics to enter into a country. You can't just...
I believe that ECOWAS is far gone in terms of setting up this rapid deployment force.
We are actually in talks at the moment to ensure that we are able to enter into an emergency crisis situation within 30 days. We're trying to get a battalion that will be able to respond, and those are things that we are certainly aware of. We don't have any illusions about the challenges that we do have, but we're wanting to rectify.
President Jonathan, is Nigeria under a civilian regime committed to establishing peace and security in the region like when the dictator Abacha was in power?
I think we Nigerians, we have done our best. There is no doubt about that. We have a record with the ECOWAS in supporting the peace and security in the region. Nigeria has no problem with playing the regional sergeant major. In as far as sending troops to Mali and other countries is concerned, Nigeria has ever sent troops to Liberia and Sierra Leone. So we have no problem with supporting the peace and security in the region. Last year in January 2013, Nigeria prepared troops to go to Mali. These troops were attacked by the JAMS, which is a group that broke from the Boko Haram in 2012. They attacked troops that were headed for Mali. So at this moment, or using that gesture, you could see that we are committed to ensuring that there is peace and security in the region.
So you're suggesting that there's a link between the Islamists in Mali, the Sahel, and Boko Haram?
They could have done that because they did not want us to interfere with their problems. They needed us to sort our problems. It is our strategy today that we are going to deal with our Boko Haram issue.
Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Nana from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. I'm very happy to see my president here and to hear him speak about sorting out our problem. Is it not the case that he is the source of our problem in Nigeria? In fact, there are a lot of reports that Boko Haram is really a politically instigated organization, and all this has been around the fact that he will not say that he will not contest the elections in 2015. If he's so interested in peace, should he not step down for the sake of peace in Nigeria and publicly declare that he will not run in the elections in 2015?
Thank you, my sister. My name is Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and I bring good luck to Nigeria. It is not a bad man that makes a country. It is the intelligence. And it's not a good man who makes a country. But I am a good man, as represented by my name.
Yes.
I am doing all that it takes. When it comes to elections, the people will decide. Just like the people decided me on this seat.
Yes.
Mr. President, I'm not sure it's the people who decided to put you on that seat, or President Obasanjo, who decided for all sorts of reasons to put you in that seat. And actually, even by President Obasanjo's own admission, you have disappointed him, the party, and Nigeria as a whole. Do you not think that your ineffectiveness is part of the problem? Boko Haram aside for the time being, your voice is never heard in the region, on the continent, at the United Nations. We do not know why you fail to show up and not speak at leading events. At the African Union, you do not speak, Mr. President. Not just that, you're the first president who has agreed to be second, who has agreed to be second in command to a regional mediator. Since when did Nigeria, the giant, the so-called giant of Africa, play second fiddle to a country like Burkina Faso? When it was time to go to Mali, you agreed quietly and said he would play second fiddle. You just do not seem to be the kind of leader that can bring peace and stability to the region. Is that not true? And yet you would still contest in 2015. You previously said you would not. Should you not get out of the way so that Nigeria can survive and thrive and the region can prosper?
With the 2015 elections coming, Nigerians will decide who will rule them in the next coming 4 years. That is where I stand. I don't know about UN. I know about the African Union. I know about ECOWAS. And the ECOWAS representative here can attest to that, that my administration has a name. I have a good record with the ECOWAS in as far as the regional peace and security is concerned.
President, you were not able to speak at the big summit that celebrating how many years of the African Union. You were not able to speak. You did not. You missed your speaking slot. What happened to you?
We heard you having to lie down.
I think having health problems is for everyone. Nobody calls to be sick. And President Abacha, who put me here, was not sick at the time.
President Obasanjo.
Yes, sorry, President Obasanjo.
Are you saying he actually put you there?
He put me here because he saw my potential to rule the country.
Are you confirming that you were not elected by Nigerians?
I was elected by Nigerians, seconded by Obasanjo.
Yes.
I have a question for President of Mali, Mr. Abubakar. You said earlier about how the caretaker government asked for the French to intervene. Watching the French coming into Mali again looked like Mali was never independent. I mean, can't Mali solve its own problems without resorting to its former colonial power?
Well, thank you very much. Mali is doing everything it can and to resolve its problem. I think that Mali and France, of course, have very long historical ties, and these historical links have imprint on the relationship that we have. And of course, it wasn't as if we even expected France alone to respond to us. Of course, we sought assistance from all over the world, and France was willing to, assist us.
Why couldn't you approach the United Nations? Or
we did. Yes, the head of the transitional government wrote a letter to the President of the Security Council, and I think Security Council had a resolution 2100, which requested that, of course, countries can intervene in Mali to bring in peace in the country, and I think that was what France responded to.
What is the essence of the Malian army if it cannot defend the integrity of Mali to be overrun by a ragtag army from the north?
Well, I think you should understand the situation in Mali in 2012. At that time, there were different groups and different forces that were trying to take over the country and impose themselves on Malians. If you have such a thing which is tantamount to terrorism, it is difficult for a country like Mali, that is a developing country, to fight by itself. And I think that was why there was a need to actually seek assistance in such a situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up the discussion from the French intervention. I'd just like to state that the West African region, and certainly Mali, it's not an island. We work in collaborations and partnerships with all our local African Union, with our international partners. So we shouldn't look at any engagement that we have with other members as a negative point. We need the alliances, the assistance of our alliances, our partners, and all stakeholders, not just in Africa but across the board.
Yes.
If I can add to what Madam Salamat was said, also that by the time we have the Western states intervening in any situation in Africa, it is defined by the African leaders and it is defined by the organizations such as ECOWAS and, with of course our support.
But, Madam Commissioner, why should that be the case? I mean, why should we have these so-called international partners doing what African governments should do in the first place?
I don't think it's a matter of replacing what the national governments are doing. It's a matter of a supplementary role, a complementary role. And that is what we are a proponent of. We're not promoting that they come in and they be the prime runners. We are asking that they assist and they supplement in engagements that we are.
Yeah, but it's only in Africa we have this sort of arrangement. You don't have that in Europe, you don't have that in America, you don't have that in Latin America. Is the dependency syndrome that continues to...
I don't think that the dependency syndrome is being perpetuated. Like I stated earlier, peace and security in the region needs to be the task of not just the region, not just the member states, not just the head of states. It is a collective effort that will ensure that peace and security is achieved in the region.
Yes.
I have a major challenge. You have Madam Suleiman, who actually was appointed by President, Goodluck Jonathan. And then, with all due respect, Madam, you yourself, you have not been that active in regional discussions around peace and security. During the Partners Forum last year in April, we understand you came on leave, you were on leave in the United Kingdom. And around that time, there was talk about France signing a 50 million euro to support ECOWAS in Mali. So there's deep suspicion at the moment as to whether you yourself, you are a capable Commissioner for Peace and Security, and people are not surprised because you are Jonathan's appointment. Maybe that in itself reflects, the kind of incapacity, the lethargy in that Nigerian regime. So nobody can hear any of your voices. Is it any wonder that under your watch, under President Goodluck Jonathan's watch, Mali went to France? And actually this refusal of Francophone West Africans, with all due respect, Mr. President, your refusal to become untied from the umbilical cord of your former colonial masters is at the heart of the problem. What is wrong with leadership in West Africa? Why do we have a panel where they cannot even own up to the fact that they're selling out the sub-region?
Yes, Madam Commissioner.
Let me first pick it up from my absence, my vacation in the
United Kingdom. You came to London, Madam.
Yes. I think as President Jonathan has mentioned, as political appointees, we are always seen as people who are not human, who don't deserve to take a break, who don't get ill, those we are human beings.
At the time of the Partners Forum, you could have been ill at home. Nobody found you in Nigeria. You are
Number two, I think it's important to...
You were in fact shopping, Madam.
Number two, I think it's important when we look at the successes of ECOWAS to realize that ECOWAS has had an evolution, a transformation in the way in which it has engaged in Africa. We were first established to deal with economic issues. We have been economics centered, and over the years we've had to transform our body to incorporate issues of peace and security. And if we frame that, if we look at our successes, bearing in mind this transformation that has occurred, then we will see that actually there have been great strides that have been made, there have been challenges that have been made, but there have been great strides. With regards to my voice, as we speak right now, in Accra, in another city in Akosombo in Ghana, we have a review panel with experts from all sectors of Africa and the international community. We have experts from international institutions, experts from research institutions, civil society organizations, where we are trying to discover what were our shortcomings in our intervention in Mali. And we acknowledge that there have been challenges.
Excuse me, as we speak, your Director of Political Affairs is who's overseeing that. That's a real expert in your department. You are here again in another debate in London. You're not in Akosombo.
This debate will definitely feed into the recommendations.
But you're not
the report will be published after these meetings have taken place.
Isn't it the case that you like traveling to London and to the States?
That is not the case. I've come to this discussion to aid to the debate, to add on to the debate on peace and security challenges.
President Johnson.
And Madam Commissioner was appointed to this position on merit.
Thank you very much. We talked about Mali being tied, having an umbilical cord with France. I don't think that is true. Yes, I stated that.
But you didn't want ECOWAS to go to Mali. You and your ruling elite at the time did not want ECOWAS to go to Mali. And you yourself are so friendly to France. What are you know?
No, you see,
Excellency,
my administration is
please
friendly.
be honest with us.
My administration is friendly to all civilized countries of the world.
Oh, so
I do not
West
have...
African countries are not civilized.
Yes, including West African countries. And in fact, we are indeed very grateful that Chad, our neighbor, assisted us when we had crisis. And in fact, President Debbie has been very warm in terms of providing assistance. Also, President Bouteflika has been...
Which was provided by France to Chad.
Well, no. President Bouteflika of Algeria was also very, very useful when we had, this reconciliation meeting that would help, solve our problem in Mali. So I don't think that we look to France in all situations. As a matter of fact, we do not, rely only on any particular country, but we believe that problems such as terrorism requires a collective effort. It is not a thing that any country can fight, much less a country like Mali.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Benga. I'm a defense correspondent for the Punch newspaper. I have a couple of questions for the ECOWAS Commissioner and our beloved President. Mark, does this seeming ineffectiveness of ECOWAS be as a result of the issue regarding who heads the AU force in Mali? Initially, your government, I think, sent about 3 battalions, responded effectively to the crisis in Mali by sending about 3 battalions or so. But suddenly, your force commander was removed, and a Rwandese General Bosco Kazura, who speaks French, was put in place, was replaced. And this prompted your country to withdraw its forces back to the country. Of course, under the umbrella of we need them for Boko Haram issues. Could it be the reason why you seem to be so, the feeling is that you're so lackadaisical with issues regarding ECOWAS and Mali? That's one. 2, to the Malian president, yes, you had issues with the North. What have you done to bring about reconciliation? There have been reports from the Tuareg region, the rebels there, that hitherto for years your government and past Malian government have neglected the Tuareg region, have neglected the people there, forms of infrastructural development and even inclusion in government. What plans are you making to involve them in future?
President Jonathan. President Jonathan, about withdrawing forces.
He was referring to me as Madam. I am the chief of staff. And so I think the question did not refer to me.
Was it ECOWAS? No, but you mentioned we grow 3,000
troops. Exactly.
Yes.
But I was referring to Madam ECOWAS.
Maybe he meant Madam Patience.
Yes.
I must firstly state that the bulk, obviously, of ECOWAS forces come from Nigeria. And Nigeria at the time continues to have issues with Boko Haram. So they had to attend to their own internal issues at the time. Of course, there were other political issues such as, just rank issues and some Nigerian...
Yeah, I must say the country actually applauded that move because it showed we were still effective as seen by other people. Yeah,
but the point I'm trying to make is that Nigeria had its own issues back home to deal with and had to go deal with them before they could proceed. I don't know if you want to add on, President.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. I think that there are many prongs to addressing the issue of the Tuareg region. As you all know, Mali is a developing country, and this is one of the crises that developing countries face. Generally in Mali, there are developmental problems. And one of the things that the UN recommended is an inclusive government, Resolution 2100. We are trying to see how we can include everyone. It is not just in the north that people feel marginalized. In the south, people are facing developmental problems. And we are trying to work holistically, bringing every party together to see that the programs we have, such as the government, accelerated reconciliation program, includes, the Tuareg, the people of the northern region. We are also trying to see how our developmental program, 5-year developmental program, can address, developmental issue in Mali. And we hope that with the cooperation of everyone, we can achieve this.
Yes.
Yes, I wanted just to add on what our commissioner said. In addition to withdrawing from Mali, we did this because we had our own problems to solve. We had the Boko Haram to deal with, and if we did not, and if we sent our troops to Mali, our soldiers were going to continue dying. Back home, Boko Haram would continue killing our people. So it was better to rearrange the strategy and deal with what is back home.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, as a follow-up question to the ineffectiveness of ECOWAS, we can recall that ECOWAS was very effective in Liberia and Sierra Leone in the 1990s. And that was principally because Nigeria showed that responsibility. Will it be correct then to say that without Nigeria, ECOWAS cannot stand? And if that is the case, what is ECOWAS doing to address that?
Certainly, there's 15 member states, and I would not try to downplay the strength of Nigeria, but like I said, this is a collaborative effort. Like I said, we need these 15 states pulling together. In addition, we need the support of civil society organizations. We need our experts, research institutions to provide us with any recommendations that we have. We need our international community to come and bring their expertise as well. So what I'm trying to say is that Nigeria is important. I would not try to downplay, but we need the pulling of all 15 member states in order to ensure that ECOWAS is effective.
Yes.
President Jonathan, I want to come back to the issue of Boko Haram because I was very dissatisfied with your previous answer. I do not think that trying to get rid of Boko Haram in Cameroon is the only answer. And I want to come back to my analogy of if you want to get rid of mosquitoes, you have to drain the swamp. What are you doing within Nigeria in order to address what I consider to be the fundamental underlying problems of underdevelopment, economic, social underdevelopment and marginalization of social groups, the underprivileged, the wretched of the earth, the working classes of Nigeria? What are you doing to address in terms of education? Lecturers and teachers have been on strike for the last 3-4 years. Numerous demonstrations and teachers trying to deal with inadequate salaries and conditions within the university. Education is a key, and also informing and making the Nigerian public aware and informed. So these are some of the kind of policies, just looking at education alone, that will help to address some of the conditions that drive, that generate, that cultivate the minds of so-called terrorists like Boko Haram. So what are you doing domestically in terms of the long-term and short-term to address Boko Haram within Nigeria?
You have raised a very pertinent question, that is the issue of education as far as Boko Haram is concerned. Boko Haram is allergic to education, and in particular, Western education, and that is why they are rising up. So I do not see education as an option for Boko Haram. Mentioned in Cameroon, it was just one of the options. But with Boko Haram, just like you said, if you want to eliminate a mosquito, you have to drain the water. I cannot give a Panadol to Boko Haram because it may not be suffering from just a simple pain. We are using a military intervention to reduce the Boko Haram attacks. So we are strengthening our military to ensure that the Boko Haram attacks are reduced. This will not be in the short run. It is something that is going to take us time and money and personnel.
Yes.
Yeah, President, as a follow-up, just a few months ago, you offered the amnesty program to Boko Haram members, and just a few weeks after you drew the offer. Don't you think that this seeming confusion is actually a big problem?
Yes. Boko Haram members are not interested in amnesty.
But why did you offer it, first of all?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You offer first and then they refuse it. Because if I did not offer it, how would I know that they were actually interested in that? So if they refuse, I have to change my strategy.
I'm so sorry, it's so connected to this. As the brother behind there said, this is evidence of the confusion within your regime, President Jonathan. At some point, you made a public statement, I think it was 2 Januaries ago or 2 Februaries ago now. You said, I have Boko Haram in my government, okay? That was your public statement to the people of Nigeria. Therefore, you support, that statement supported the claim all along that Boko Haram is also a creation of people in your party, okay? There's a socio-economic Boko Haram and there's a religious Boko Haram. What is being said here speaks to the fact that you need another strategy. Can the president tell us what he did, what your people did with 1 trillion naira, okay? Close to $1 billion or so that was spent on the military equipment to house Boko Haram. You could have spent some of that money dealing with the socio-economic factors. You didn't. We think your government is totally incapable, inept, in fact, when it comes to the issue of Boko Haram.
My government is capable of handling the issue of Boko Haram.
You have not shown us that you are.
Those allegations against me and my government are outrageous. I want to say that what I am very aware about is I recruited an Air Force commander from the northeast where Boko Haram is popularly found and brought him into my government just to change the strategy a little bit to see if the Boko Haram attacks can reduce. That is what I did, but all the other allegations against me are not correct.
Well, President, I mean, that's a very good point you've made. Because you see, the guys who are in charge of security are from the north. The heads of the various sections of the armed forces are from the north. So you're not getting the right information. There's a sort of information asymmetry between yourself and the commanders. So how can you then fight this cause when you're not getting the right information from these guys who are northern based?
I think if I do not recruit people from the north or northeast, I am being said politically biased in terms of employment.
Well, they're not providing you with the right intelligence.
They are providing you with the right intelligence. That is why I'm changing the strategy to a military intervention than using amnesty.
Yes,
thank you very much. My name is Musa Shaibu. My question goes to my president, President Keita. Salam alaikum. You have said, you have acknowledged that the problem in Mali has been as a result of socio-economic inequalities. But throughout your presentation, you've not outlined specific programs you are putting in place to bridge this gap between the poor and the rich in Mali, especially when the peace agreement that was signed seems to be on the verge of collapse as the rebels are still regrouping and rearming in the north of the country. What do you have for us?
Yeah, you said you are Musa, right?
Yes, Musa.
Okay. All right. Musa, you see, that is why we need one of you in government. But of course, what we are doing in Mali is so much. Mali is a developing country, and we have put in place a lot of programs. We have a 5-year economic program that will last from 2013, last year, to 2018. And in this program, it's all inclusive. Of course, we are running different programs at different time, and we are ensuring that everybody enjoys from this program. I mean, I have a reputation to protect, and I have, given people of Mali my words that I'm going to resuscitate the economy and rebuild the state.
What specific programs are you putting in place? That's what I want to know.
One of it is the 5-year economic plan program.
What exactly under the 5-year economic program are you doing?
Yes.
I want you to name just one specific.
That is one program, and it is key and all inclusive. What it will do is that it will resuscitate the economy. Of course, how it will resuscitate it is that it will broaden trade. Of course, you remember that now that we have been able to stabilize the country, we have been able to...
There is poor infrastructure in the north. There are no schools, there are no hospitals.
Musa, are you sure you are from Mali?
Jonathan,